Movies, films, cinema. Director is the best job ever and I really believe in that. Yesterday, I worked on a new film for Hollywood. I own a production company and I have some film studios in Atlanta, in the United States of America. But now, I'm looking for new natural and authentic settings in Ireland. My name is Richard Lovick and I am a film director. I love American movies and especially the blockbusters, and I know that a lot of film was shot in Ireland. So I'm here to find a location for my next movie called Dracula's Return, the sequel of Dracula Untold. In short, I was born in Dublin, so I know the land of this beautiful country, Ireland. I arrived in Dublin in the afternoon at the airport. I walked in the little streets of this big city thinking about my next movie. But the more I thought about it, the more I believed that it was not the perfect area for my sequence shots. However, I visited 4 monuments in Dublin. The first one was Christ Church, which is truly beautiful, majestic and bright. But before going to this area, I had to cross Halfpenny Bridge, a cast iron bridge built in 1916. It's the oldest bridge I have ever crossed. Then I wanted to visit St. Stephen's Green. It is one of the parks of Dublin, but to me it's the best. It is very clean, peaceful, the atmosphere is very relaxing and many people come to walk there and find the serenity. To finish, at nightfall, when the sun had set, I decided to go to Wicklow at the waterfall power scout. This area is bewitching. It's a heaven of peace, like paradise. So that's the reason why I slept all night long in this beautiful place of nature. I woke up the next morning near the waterfall where I had fallen asleep. Then I left for the city of Wicklow. That is where the movie King Arthur and the series Vikings were shot. Sadly, I didn't find the exact area where the scenes were filmed. I was very disappointed. So I decided to visit the other highlights of Wicklow to comfort myself. The first one was Lake Lough Tay. It is the most beautiful, relaxing and biggest lake I have ever seen. Then I made the decision to visit the last monument of the county of Wicklow. It is the oldest and deconsecrated prison named the Wicklow Jail. The rumors say that this area is haunted. Many visits are organized in this tyrannized place. For the night, I slept in a hotel near the place where I was. The next day, I went to Wexford, a county where the famous film Saving Private Ryan was shot. For the third day, I woke up very early in the morning to arrive at Curracloe Beach, where the movie Saving Private Ryan was shot. It's an amazing film about the World War II, more precisely about the D-Day at Omaha Beach. This place is just breathtaking and majestic. I was treading the sand of this place when I remembered the scene with all the bombing, the soldiers falling in battle under the fire of the enemy's machine guns. After the afternoon, I decided to sleep at the village of Curracloe in the hotel Curracloe Holiday Park, and I fell asleep watching the sunset that was truly magnificent. During the 4th day, I went to the island Skelling Michael, where many scenes of the famous films Star Wars Return of the Jedi and Star Wars The Force Awakens were filmed. The 5th day was amazing. I saw the places where Star Wars The Last Jedi, the 8th episode, was filmed. We can find on this island many vestiges dating from the 7th century, like stone stairs built by monks who lived on this island until 1200. I spent a lot of time finding the exact location of the movie Star Wars. At first, my information had taken me to County Kerry, more precisely in the village of Portmaggie. So I resigned myself to wandering around County Kerry. However, I luckily met a big fan of Star Wars who gave me the exact place that was none other than the island of Skellig Michael. This island is just beautiful, very atypical, with lots of vegetation and old stone buildings. It was the perfect island for Star Wars. It fits perfectly with its universe. The island of Skellig Michael remained almost unchanged since the 6th century, when the ascetic monks carved hundreds of steps to the steep summit and established a monastery there. Finally, I decided to spend the night under the stars to spice up the experience and to enjoy the island and this magical moment that I had lived. For this 6th day in this beautiful country, I decided to visit 2 filming sites in the same day. First, I went to the nearest filming site of Asterix and Obelix, a French movie. Unfortunately, I could not find the exact place where part of the film was shot. I was once again very disappointed, so I made the decision to visit County Kerry because it was the only information I had about where the film was shot. So I made the decision to go to the hotel on the Irish shores of County Kerry where I had a good breakfast. Then I spent all morning walking along the beach and thinking about the next filming location that I was going to visit today. Secondly, in the early afternoon, I was on my way to Cliffs of Moher, Lisconnor, County Clare, Ireland. Luckily, this time I managed to find the precise place where a scene from the movie Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince had been shot. There was a splendid view. I fixed the horizon as far as the eye could see, and I was hypnotized by this captivating sight. I only saw the immensity of the ocean. It was just beautiful. In the evening, after staying several hours on these cliffs to get some pictures for my next movie, I spent the night in a very famous hotel in County Clare named Drummoland Castle Hotel. I was only waiting for one thing, nighttime, that passed quickly. I was excited to go to the next filming site of the movie Braveheart in County Meath. For this 7th day, we went to the Castle of Trim, the castle of the movie Braveheart that stood in the city of York. However, to visit the castle I needed a guided tour. The ruins are well preserved. The description and the history of this castle are well explained in the guide which is given at the reception desk. This castle was built over 2 generations by Lord Hugh de Lacy and his son from 1172 to the end of 1206. Its primary function was to be a center of the Norman administration responsible for the administrative area of County Meath. Hugh de Lacy was then entrusted by Henry II of England with the heavy task of ensuring the smooth running of the center. I had a pleasant day visiting this castle, but I was tired at the end of the afternoon. For my penultimate day, I decided to go and visit the film location of the film Dracula Untold, which is one of my favorite films. After much research, I managed to find the exact location of the film. This film was shot in 3 different places. The first place was Tullamore Forest Park. When I visited this park, I was overwhelmed. The park is calm, relaxing, especially because of its nature that makes it peaceful and can appease anyone who visits it. I felt this especially when I visited the beautiful Gothic church that I think probably served for the shooting of the film. The second filming location I visited is the city of Stankford. When I visited it, I immediately understood why the director chose the city to shoot scenes from his film. The city is reminiscent of the Romanian city of Bucharest, where the legend of Dracula was born, especially thanks to its many castles, fir tree forests, and its ancient port. And finally, the last filming location I visited was Mount Stewart. It was a beautiful property with a beautiful garden that reminded me of Dracula's property itself because of the architecture of the house, which was very Gothic. So I made the decision to stay overnight at the nearest hotel, Shorelight at Mount Stewart. I hoped the night would go by quickly so I could visit the last touring spot of my favorite series, Game of Thrones. I woke up in the morning with the light sea air of Ireland. It's a beautiful country, isn't it? I had the idea of going on the shooting site of series like Game of Thrones, which is my favorite series. After much research, I found out that there would have been 2 filming locations. The first place is situated in Northern Ireland, more precisely at Dark Hedges. Dark Hedges is driveway surrounded by trees, which really gives a fairy, calm and soothing side to this place. It is a majestic place that I advise everyone to visit if you are, like me, a fan of the series Game of Thrones. On the other hand, I did not stay in the second place because it was only a forest with a golf course next door. When the day was drawing to a close, I spent the night in Lime Park Arts and cottages so I could stay near dark hedges. I think that my dreams will be very animated by all of this yearning. After my travel in Ireland, I left with many memories in my head that every time I think of, it gives me nostalgia. I remember this country, which is a rich country, share these many landscapes, but also rich cinematically. I remember the first day I arrived in Ireland, I was so happy. So I had visited Dublin with these monuments that were magnificent as Christ Church, Halfpenny Bridge, St. Stephen's Green. What also mocked me was the first day of my stay in Ireland when I had to sleep under the stars in the waterfalls of Powell's Court because I forgot to book a room in a hotel in the city. And finally, I would to say that what really mocked is when I was able to visit the filming location of my series on the last day of stay in Ireland. I never thought I would have access to it. Now that I am in your company, in this movie theater, and I see these images, I have a deep melancholy and a deep nostalgia that seizes me, because I have loved in this journey from beginning to end. I cannot wait for one thing, to return as soon as possible.